On today's episode of the Yakety Yak podcast, I'm here with Shelley Francis. We are interviewing our friend Rachel Parry. Rachel has a son, Carson, who's now 15 years old, who was born with a very rare disease. It's called muscle-eye brain disease. There are only 15 to 20 cases in North America. Rachel's going to tell us a little bit about life with Carson, what it's like to take care of such a special kid, and what she's learned along the way. Thanks for joining.
Carson will be 15 in May. So this is one of those. I know he's going to be a senior. A sophomore at Davis High.
He's just a little older than Lily.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So so I thought a lot of times people are like, oh, what's it like to be a parent? You know, you have to be a really good person. No, really, you can be anybody. You don't sit there and go, oh, my child has disabilities, so I give up. You get formed into the person that you've got to be for that child. Some people are like, I could never do it. Oh, you could. It might be hell some days, but you can do it.
Because you have to.
You have to. It's not a choice.
Was this something that you knew about while you were pregnant with him?
I had no idea. And in fact, he was 16 months old when we found out, actually, because he had eye surgery to correct a lazy eye. And the eye doctor, the poor guy, had to call me and tell me, here's the eye doctor on the phone. So, Rachel, it looks like the eye surgery went really well, but there's something wrong in his brain, I was noticing.
Well, it was in there?
Oh. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, and I'm not really qualified, but it doesn't look like cancer, but I think it's some sort of a brain disease. And up to that point, we knew he had hypotonia, which is just low muscle tone. He's not meeting milestones. So I had no idea. So we went in for an MRI and did all this and found out he had muscle-eye brain disease. Now, there's a ton of kids with that out there. There's about 15 to 20 in North America.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's that rare.
That's it. So I told Tammy that I was going to read this little thing that I put on there to explain it just for 2 seconds so people understand the thing, what it is. But first I was going to let you guys know that this is like, life to me is like a drug commercial. How in the very beginning, somebody's all sad and depressed, and then all of a sudden there's good news, there's a drug, and everybody's happy for a while, and then all of a sudden people are still happy, but all of a sudden the side effects are being listed, and it sounds kind of scary, and then the butterfly goes across the screen, so you feel kind of happy again. Right. This is life, people. There is no cure. And when people are like, things can't get worse. Oh, yeah, they can. They can get worse. They can get 5 times worse. Sorry.
I remember this right. Because I remember when it happened. I remember when he got the diagnosis. Yeah. He wasn't supposed to live for very long.
No, he wasn't supposed to live past. Usually they don't live past 2.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Years.
So here's me every night watching and breathe. Like, come on. And I just remember just thinking, I think that's the first day I found out I had the biggest migraine I'd ever had in my life. And I just thought, okay, well, I sure hope I just no idea. And the doctors are like, here's some paperwork on what we know now. That's all we can do for you. So it's weird. But so I'm just going to, if I say this, at least people, if they're listening.
Do it for me especially.
I have an idea.
I don't know what it is.
Muscle-eye brain. So this is what I used on my last, when it was Rare Disease Day. I said, Carson was born with an ultra-rare form of congenital muscular dystrophy called muscle-eye brain disease. The National Institute of Health defines a rare disease as one that affects less than 200,000 people. And MEB is so rare that there's no numerical statistics for how often it occurs. It's an inherited condition caused by a mutation of the POMGNT1 gene, everybody. Both have to be carriers, by the way, so the chance of it happening is slim to none. It results in a number of symptoms, including muscle weakness, not just limb, but muscles, heart, lungs, stomach, bowels, etc., vision abnormalities, glaucoma, severe nearsightedness, and possible retina detachment. We hope that one we don't have to watch. Brain structure abnormalities. The brain develops a bumpy cobblestone appearance and lacks the normal folding structure, and severe intellectual disabilities. I said there's no successful treatment or cure for MEB. However, Carson has defied many odds and has excelled in areas they never thought possible. Day to day can be tough at times on him, physically and mentally. However, his sense of humor is hysterical, and we love this kid to pieces. He's a joy. So, do you like kind of that? He's a joy. I was reading that. Okay, so anyway.
He is hilarious.
He is funny. He has a great sense of humor. But I just think, so a lot of times people are like, well, so what's it like? And I think, well, when I describe it this time, I want to describe it what it's like, but also from his point of view.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of the times people are like, the parents talk about it, and I think, you know, if it's that hard at times, imagine what it's like being in that body every day.
Yeah.
And being like, and when people are like, when you go to heaven, because he can't walk or talk, but he has other ways to communicate. But he goes, when you go, so those who believe there's an afterlife in heaven and you'll be reunited, and won't that be a wonderful day? And I said, yeah, it will be. And if that does happen, and if that is how it goes, then I'll be happy when he says, hey, Mom, you idiot. When I was saying this with my finger, no, it wasn't for that. It was for this, you dummy. How many times have I tried to tell you? You know how frustrated you are?
Stupid.
Go, I think you've done better.
Did he never learn to talk then? So he's never been able to speak?
No, he doesn't. Well, he does say Ma.
He says Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
I love that.
He does. And he'll say certain things like, he'll imitate things. So if he wants to in the car, he'll say, if he wants the dogs, he goes, because in his opinion, dogs don't go rough. They go,
he hears the sound
and that's
and
what
sees
it is. And if he wants water, like with water swimming, he'll go to do the gargling noise. He has all these different things that he'll do, but he won't do the normal things like American Sign Language or the picture system. All these things that the schools are like,
that they try to teach
do
him.
this. And sometimes it works because he knows damn well what those pictures are.
Oh, he does.
And he knows to point. And I've seen him do it. In fact, I walked into class when he was in 6th grade, and he's coloring, and he sees me and her and throws it on the ground and pretends he's not coloring.
You're kidding.
You will color! And they're like, you know, he's eating snacks and stuff, and he does. He eats snacks, things like that. But every day, basically, the routine is he yells for me, and I have a... And it's like, if I don't hurry, it's irritating, okay? Because he's sitting there going, I need someone to help me.
Yeah.
And you're it, so get going.
And now, did you guys... Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Actually,
yeah, what was that about? Are you a co-host?
You guys just took your... Yes.
Listen, co-host, I'll tell you when you can speak. Okay. Let me have
you guys just changed your house around so that he is on the main floor.
Yeah.
He's in the living room, right?
Well, so he's not in the living room. He's actually off the garage, which is our wonderful family room with the fireplace that we all love. Now he's in the master suite where everybody's like, I can't have that room. No.
Oh.
But
that's kind of hard to modify your whole life.
Yeah, and so that's what we're doing for right now until we get into a rambler. So we'll do that for a few more months. But next year we go. In the next year we got to make sure that we get into a rambler because he is about 80 pounds now. 82 pounds. So everything I do, I lift him way more than I should. I go to the chiropractor about every couple of weeks.
So you're carrying him everywhere.
Yeah, I do. So when I move him in and out, people are like, it's time for the minivan. I can't hear you. So I just kind of move him in and out of the Jeep and and move his chair and all that. But so this is what it's like. Let me kind of go back.
Okay.
So in the morning, he does that. He yells for me. And I actually have a system where I can see him in his bed. You know, the whole thing where you're watching him in the night and stuff. So if he needs you or whatever. It used to be up until about 3 or 4 years ago that he always slept right in my room or next to me or whatever. But as he's gotten a little bit older, just even in the past couple of years, he's gotten a little bit better at being alone, sleeping at night. However, you have to put him to sleep and lay there next to him and sing and talk and all these things. People are like, that's so cute. It is cute. But you can understand that idea when people are like, you go to leave the room, their eye opens, and you're like, no!
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
Or somebody drops something upstairs, you're like, shut it!
Yeah, that would be so...
But there are a lot of sweet moments. But so from the moment he gets up, he's ready to go. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of patience in him. And he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he's 15 almost, but his mind always varies between 5, 6. It's just really, it's hard to tell, but he definitely understands what's going on around him. But so he'll yell to me. So then I go get him. And the dogs, which are his favorite though, he starts making noises for the dogs. Well, they're usually on top of him. But I pick him up and take him up to the bath. So you got to get him bathed, and he's sitting there, and the dog's just staring. And I feed him a lot of times breakfast in the bath.
That's
because
smart.
He has a power move, and the power move he's always had is, I will not eat for you. This is my control. I don't eat for you. So he has to be distracted a lot of the time. So there either has to be a movie going, or he's playing in the water, and then you pretend you're not really feeding him,
and then
you're
able to. So you have to feed him every single meal?
Yeah, you have to feed him every meal. So he doesn't, he can't eat on his own that way. And you have to watch because he likes to laugh or smile and look off in the distance. And then he likes to swallow it whole.
Oh,
and then you have to be like, chew, chew, chew. So I've done the Heimlich quite a few times in his life. So I always tell people, don't get too comfortable because he will do that. And if like at school, sometimes the buddies will feed him, or the girls in 6th grade used to. And he wouldn't eat. He'd just sit there and start smiling while they were... And I'm like, okay. So they had to move people away from him a little bit, just have the teachers feed him. Otherwise, he'll get distracted. Because he's just very flirty, too.
Is he really?
Yes. And so he'll eat for anybody else.
But you.
But me, or for his dad. He'll eat for his stepdad, his stepmom, everyone else, grandparents, everyone.
You're kidding.
That's always been his control with us. It took till he was 6 years old to actually start eating solid. He was mostly on Pediasure and things. Then he went to Knowlton Elementary, and he was like, wait a minute, what? All these kids are eating at lunch, and my parents aren't here to see.
and then like, you would eat, okay?
This is good. So that's kind of how it started accelerating. But he still to this day uses that as his control.
Little manipulator.
Yeah, and I was like
most children.
Crazy. Yeah, they always have to have something, and that's his control. I can control if you put food in my mouth or not. So he can either stay alive or, so sometimes, I don't know. I mean, so when he's sitting there, I feed him his breakfast, and then he has to have morning meds. So he has morning meds and night meds. So I give him his morning meds.
How many meds does he take? Sorry,
Well, so right now he takes about 4 meds. He takes one of them is a sleeping med, because with this wonderful disease, your brain doesn't turn off. Yeah. It just thinks, I'm up all the time, and that's great. And that was a big problem in the very beginning when he was 2. When
that would be so hard.
And he was starting to self-harm a lot because he was just feeling so crazy because he wasn't getting sleep. Nobody was. But anyway, so he takes morning meds, and one of them is Zoloft. And it was a liquid Zoloft, and he was 2 when he started that. And that was just to get him to stop hurting himself, because the depression set in so fast to him because he was aware of what he could and couldn't do.
As a 2-year-old, you're kidding.
He was starting to just hurt himself way too much over. And here we are doing every little thing. It's not like we just put him in the closet and say, ring a bell when you need something. Yeah. We're there with him every second. So he just fell out of control. Like he didn't, no matter what you did, no matter how you gave him options, it was just, and it wasn't actually till he was 8 that he started pointing. So it took time. So when the doctor would say things like, does he do this? Does he do that? I'd be like, no. Then all of a sudden one day I'm like, he's pointing! Yes, he wants
this is great. And then he was
this
communicating.
This is a milestone. What is that one? 6 months? But it was thrilling.
I bet it was
it was thrilling. But so then you get him. Look at me, I'm worse because I just go off topic and then I come back.
No, it's great.
So now we're in the bath again, everybody. Well, we're not. He is. Let's not get this weird. He's in the bath.
By himself.
He's by himself. He's 15 almost. And so I'm feeding him breakfast. And the dogs are, at the same time, the dogs want me to throw the ball. By the way, Carson wants me to throw the ball because he wants that going on while I'm feeding him. So it's like this show going on. And I'm just thinking, I hope it's not 3rd grade I'm subbing this morning. I'm too tired. I hope it's at least 6th where they can do some of the work on it.
There's a worksheet I'm in the back.
Yeah, I'm tired. Some kids are like, I laugh when I go to school and kids are like, but I don't want to go out. And I'm like, well, get used to it. There's a lot of things that are going to happen in life. And then I'll say,
life sucks.
Yeah.
Get out.
When I was your age, I didn't either. But guess what? We all do time for our crime.
Right.
Go to recess.
I like that.
But so I was sitting there. So then I get him out of the tub. This is the part that's getting hard because he's slippery and he's big. So here's me with a towel and I get him up there. And then the tub is upstairs. So then I have to go down the stairs and down to the main level. Once I do that, so he doesn't...
You're carrying him, you mean,
I carry
upstairs
him all the time.
and downstairs.
Yeah. So I've always carried him, but we get to his bedroom, and then he wears a diaper. He can't control. His muscles are gone. Like his muscles, because of his congenital muscular dystrophy, he can't even really push out poop. So you poop, everybody. You can't push out poop. The word is poop. And so let me just tell you my world of enemas and Miralax in the past and all that. But his teachers love it because he rarely goes to the bathroom at school because we take care of it at home.
So they don't need to worry about
I usually position him. Yeah, I do. I do it, and he goes on the toilet most of the time.
Oh, he does? Oh, that's great. You got a time.
But, yeah, so we do that, get that all cleared out for the morning, and then I wrap him up, and put on his favorite show, which is Sesame Street still. So I have every episode.
I bet
everything.
You do.
I know, and he'll sit there and I think, okay, I got about 30 to 45 minutes to run upstairs and get going. And usually I shower at night because it's just tough.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. So he does that, and then I come in and I get him, and I put him on the bed, and then I dress him and all this stuff, and he hates putting shoes on, things like that, because his feet curve all weird.
Can he fight against you?
He's strong.
So he's strong,
He
even
is
though
so strong.
he doesn't have internal
he used
muscles.
to scoot on his back all over the place. And he can grab things, he can throw things, he can pick things out of boxes, and he can eat things. And so he plays with toys. He knows how to he loves his Lightning McQueen. He has trucks. He loves trucks and cars, and he knows how to push the buttons to make him make the noise and do all this stuff. And he'll go.
So it's just the internal muscles.
Yeah,
that
just
don't
somewhere
work?
in there. Yeah, but he has amazing abs. He can be laying down and he'll come right up easy, into that position in no time. So he's really strong. So this is what we had taken him to a doctor's appointment for muscular dystrophy clinic. A few months ago. We haven't even gone to this clinic, and here he is, almost 15. We're like, okay, I guess we'll go. So the doctor's like, how do we not know about you guys?
I bet they were intrigued.
He's not disabled. What are you talking about? He's fine. so he's like, I have never seen one where he's not coughing or really. So Carson's very strong. So he can punch. We have to work in areas. He can throw a headbutt like no other. We got discipline issues too. Yeah, there's all sorts of things. So once I get him ready for school, Tammy, then I get him in the Jeep, and then I go and we meet the bus. And he loves the bus. That's a huge part of his day. So we always make the bus, even though his...
what time is it now?
I'm tired. It's 7 o'clock.
It's
The bus comes at 7:03. And I'm thinking, when high school starts, what the heck?
Yeah.
So at 7:03...
I feel like they should make
high
school start later.
Exactly.
Holy crap.
So then he goes to school, and he loves it. And he goes to Kaysville Junior High, and they started a buddy program just the year he came. They didn't have a special needs program until about a year or 2 years ago.
Wow.
So he has full attention, and that's what he likes. All day long is people talking to him and thinking he's wonderful, and he likes
He loves that. Who wouldn't?
He loves it, though. And I get so many people talking to me saying, oh, I saw Carson here, I met Carson, or I was Carson's this, or, So he affects a lot of people's lives, and it's for the good. But it just, people are always like with respite, we have a certain amount of hours where we can hire on some respite in the week. So he goes to school, and they do a field trip every Wednesday. This teacher is amazing. She takes them out every Wednesday on the freaking, they go on tracks, they go on everything, they go on different things, and they go all over the place. They go on shopping trips.
And it's a special needs class?
Aquarium. Yeah. She does it with her aides every Wednesday. They do almost every week. They never miss a week.
That's awesome.
I'm so worried because he's been so spoiled there. So they do all that. Then he comes home, and then we are on a routine because everything's routine. And by the way, as soon as we get in the car to drive, everything's routine. We have to listen to the same song. And this song's been going on for years.
Oh, has it?
Oh, splish, splash, I've been thinking about all about a Saturday night. Splish, splash. Yeah, from
That's his
Bobby
favorite song.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we listen to it all the time. I listen to it every time. Occasionally, I can put the Kindle in there and get him to watch a little Sesame Street. But after a little bit, he'll just start pointing, nah, we're supposed to be listening to that song.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
he knows
that's just his calming song. And it's literally been in the car, I will not kid you, since he was probably 7. Yeah. That many years.
That's a long time.
I'm super jealous.
Yeah,
Me
I know
too.
you are. Some people would be like, have you heard this new song? What? I don't listen to anything but the same song over and over and over. But now it's changed more. Because now as he's gotten older and he goes to school, I do get to listen to other things when he's at school at times. So then he comes home, and we're on a very big routine. He comes home, and the dogs play, and he throws the ball, and he goes crazy because he wants to spend all the time with the dogs. And then he'll watch something for about 30, 45 minutes while I make dinner. And then we all eat dinner together, and then after dinner time, I get him ready for bed, and I lay next to him, and he'll just sit there and talk, make noises and sing and want the dogs to come play, and finally have to get them out of the room. The dogs like to sleep right on the bed next to him, though, until he's asleep, and then I move him out of the room. But he always wants them there. And they're protective of him, so it's cute. But from the moment he wakes up, basically it's 24-hour care. And no matter, if we're not there, then the teacher and aides at school are there. We have wonderful respite workers.
Do you? That come in?
Yeah, I have a couple that I employed that were friends and things of the family of a few. And Isabel is his sister. When she turned 16, she could respite work for him. She's made money doing that.
Did he go to school when he was in elementary school?
Yeah, and I kept them separate. Isabel is 4 years ahead of him, and Isabel went to Columbia and he went to Knowlton. And I just always did it that way.
That was
I
smart.
wanted her to
have her identity,
her own life. Beyond that, not always be worrying about him. But that's a whole other story of why I sat there thinking, I don't know if I should tell this from his perspective or Isabella's, because...
Was it good for her, do you think?
I think it was really good, but I think the things that she saw at a young age with him and some of the reactions, and he has given her anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, to this day now, she works through a lot of anxiety things and whatever, and because it's just, when you see a child self-harm at age 2...
Oh, I bet that's so traumatic.
Stop, and so whenever people are like, just say no, or just put him in the other room and tell him, you can't do a dang thing.
Now, when you're talking about self-harm, tell us what you're talking. Hitting himself?
Yeah, he hits him. He used to have really scratched face. So I keep his fingernails trimmed. We keep him down to like just the whites. You can't barely see anything. Because if he gets frustrated or tired or worn out or even happy, his go-to, and it's mostly his ears. So 3 years ago, I took him to the ER because he gave himself cauliflower ear from just a couple of hits, because he's that big now. So now one hit or two, he's just, and the ears used it for so long. So he had surgery to repair it. Basically, the problem with it too is that he's so ingrained to do it since he was 2. I don't know that he often misses a day without doing it at least once. I'm pretty sure he does it once. Some days it's a lot more. It just depends, because it releases endorphins too. Mm-hmm. So he's getting this fix from this bad thing too. That's not. So it's not just like, he just actually can't communicate. I'm like, no, because he gets lots of options. He knows how to say certain things. He knows how to get what he wants. But it will release endorphins. And his doctors, we had him on a team up at uni since he was tiny. And they said, this is the first time we've seen a child wake themselves from hitting. Not just wake up and hit, but like it's so in him that he would just start doing it. And if he got to sleep on his meds, he would wake up because he's just so used to doing it.
And it hurts him.
Yeah, it hurts him. In fact, they can be bleeding. They can be a big old mess. And
he hits himself that hard?
Yeah. He always has scabs of some sort. He always has a scab on the one ear. Always. And you can wrap him. Like, so if he's being really... So I'm big into, you got to discipline too, though. Mm-hmm. Because that's just...
It's part of life,
he knows. And the thing is a part of his disease, he was born, his frontal lobe was gray. Well, that's where you know right from wrong. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to teach right and wrong to somebody who doesn't have that capability at first. So he's gotten really good at it, and he knows now. And I think just other parts take over, like they say with the brain. They overcompensate, what happens. Mm-hmm. And I think he's learned. But there are things where, if you act like this, then you're not getting this. If you do this. But the way it works is a lot of time is he just has to sit. You have to just basically be with him. And you have to hold his hand sometimes. The teachers at school and aides are hilarious, because when he starts acting up, because he wants attention, he wants people to be looking at him because he's so cute, and his freckles and his smiles and his laughter is wonderful. So cute, but if he doesn't get that, he starts trying to yell out more and get people's attention, and he'll, and if the teacher's talking about something and he's like, well, this is boring, he'll start kind of finding ways. Well, they've learned that the only thing that makes him stop, for them, for the most part, is rubbing his feet. He loves his legs and feet rubbed. So he'll put his foot up.
Cute. They will.
And they will rub his feet. And that's his reward for being good.
That is sweet.
And he loves it. And so the other day, he put his foot up. And the teacher's like, no. The aide was like, no, I'm not. You need to sit and do this. And then I'll do it if you do a good job. And he is like, kind of trying to put it back up on her lap. And so then she put hers on his lap. He just started laughing like crazy. He thought it was hilarious. But we're like, the thing is he knows how to manipulate. He knows. So I always tell people, he knows what's going on, and he knows how to get certain things. Mm-hmm. So you just have to, he just, I don't know, I'm just trying to explain how he's disabled, but he knows, he's learned so much. But he's very
intelligent.
Yeah, he's very intelligent in there, and he knows he has likes, dislikes, there's things, and he can see the kids playing. And you know what, when people are like, oh, this child, she hasn't been able to even make a noise her whole life, and he just sits there. And I think that is sad. But at other times I think, wow, that sounds nice. Because imagine being in his body and seeing the kids running and talking and doing whatever. And he's thinking, well, I'd like to do that. So I was like, when you get up to heaven and you see me and you tell me that I probably could have done that better, maybe you could say to Heavenly Father, Walking and not talking.
Can
I just have one? One or the other?
Could I just have something?
Why am I doing both? This sucks.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so it's just so with his muscle disease. So a lot of the days with his disease, he has migraines or headaches, but he can't tell you that. But just because of the way his brain is formed and things like that, he's prone to it. So I put ibuprofen in him, quite a bit, or aspirin, depending on what it is, and try to help him. Because if he's hitting a lot,
Then
usually there's something else going on besides just
pain.
that. And his muscles don't grow the same as his bones. So like when he was 5 and he had his main tendons cut in both legs, he had surgery, they cut them, and then just let him dangle and form back because they don't cut the same. So it's getting a tension going with his bones.
It had you to steal.
So he's casted for about 6 weeks at that point. And he was so angry.
I
Can you
bet.
imagine having your tendons cut? And
Yeah.
being angry?
I remember you telling me about that though, and I just thought,
Can you imagine? But and I guess from hearing from people who've had it done, it's very painful. To repair and waiting for them to repair and all that. But and he would just put his foot up to you and like to remove the cast and get rid of it, and you would try to communicate with him that this is just it'll go away and things like that. We just need to fix it. So the last time he did that was when he was about 6.
As I'm listening to you, okay, I'm amazed. Obviously, I didn't realize that it was so hard. What prepared you for this? This doesn't happen to very many people in the world. Right? So Rachel, seriously,
I don't know what prepared me.
You know something did, right?
Well, I don't know. I just laughed because I remember being asked to speak in Relief Society when I thought it was just low muscle tone. And they're like, could you talk about your child so people understand? Here's the first person before me in their trial. I can't get my child to take a nap. And I was thinking, oh, good hell.
Yeah.
I can't get my child to sit up and keep his head up, or just, roll over. I can't get him to do a dang thing. He can't eat. He can't. And so I just remember, but that's just perspective now. However, if I was 16 at that point and I think, you know what I mean? Now I look back and I see kids, or I call them kids now because I feel old, and they'll be like, oh, it's so hard when you first have a child. You're like,
oh, you have no idea.
I just start your meds now.
Yeah.
Let's find you something that's going to work as time goes on.
Wait until life really happens. Can I just say, I thought something that did prepare you for this.
Is this a joke?
No, no, this is a compliment. So prepare yourself.
Wow, I'm not used to this, Shelley.
I think you have got such a fantastic sense of humor. And
yes.
not that I think that you sit back and laugh about this, but I know you lost your sister.
No.
Yes, you did. Or no, she was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, yeah. The same week I lost my dad, my sister had a brain tumor. So we couldn't even tell her that he died.
And this was before Carson was born?
No, this was after.
After.
And one of the hardest parts was that Carson and my dad were best friends. Carson, when he was little, would be no good to any. He would be terrible. My dad would hold him. Like all the other grandkids were a little more afraid of my dad because he was tall and kind of loud. Carson, I mean, he was the best thing that ever happened to my dad and gave my dad some of the best years of his life before he died.
Well,
because that's
so
what
neat.
happens. Because things get really good for a minute and then God kills them.
And the Lord is like, so I hope you like that. Here's hell again.
Now.
I think you have to laugh about life because honestly, I was telling Tommy last time we talked, really life sucks.
It does. I love that part of your
because
thing.
it does.
It does.
It does suck. And you have to look at it and say, I know that you've had times because you have you're so amazing. Your personality is amazing.
Nice. I don't know how to take
because I know that there are days where you sit and you look ahead and you think, this boy of mine is not going to be here forever. Yeah, I get choked up.
Well, I do, and I think
because it's true.
When people say I lost a child, I think, I would hate to lose a child, but I know that's in my future. But here's the thing. Every time, what people don't understand is when your child has a disability, gosh, you're stupid. Sorry, I have to cry. Is that anytime you see something, it reminds you that it's like they die again.
Yeah.
So like when I take him somewhere and there's kids his age playing, gosh, Shelley, football or things like that, I'm thinking, why can't he be out there doing that? Or why can't he be? My mom's always like, oh, he's so cute and so funny. Can you imagine him on his first date or things?
And you wish you could.
So every time there's something, or when all the cousins were getting baptized, or all the kids, at the time, you just kept thinking, I love this child, and he brings us more joy than anything, because he really does in so many ways that I never thought possible. But at the same time, it's a
crock of shit that he
doesn't. There's always that. You can look at the silver lining, but there's always going to be crap at the end too.
Like one thing I'll tell people, because I lost Jack, and he was, he was 24 weeks, and I'm always like, I was so grateful I got to hold him, and I got to bury him. That was very, it gave me a lot of closure. But I'm so glad I didn't get to know his personality. And I'm so glad I didn't get to hear his voice.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I didn't get to hear his cry, because
that would make it
I
so
remember
much
the day
harder.
I buried him, I just wanted to lay down next to that grave and never leave.
Yeah.
I never wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And so I feel so...
Yeah, it's
for you to have the attitude that you have to lay down next to him at night and just...
I know.
And you laughed your way through
it's
it.
cute. We do, and we have a great time. And there are times like when my dad died, I would sit there bawling my eyes out at night next to Carson, and he'd look over and just start laughing his head off. He thought it was so hilarious. The more I'd cry, the more he'd laugh. I'm like, dude, you're terrible. And he would be laughing, and I'm like, but I knew it was just, I just know that throughout everything, and this is even like with his stepdad now, who's never experienced this life. I was remarried a couple of years ago. He is. And Carson, Carson loves his dad. He loves his stepmom. But on our side, this is what I see. And that is his stepdad has really just stepped up, and he basically just wants to hang out with him. We're all of us are just like, yeah, you're fine. Him and the dogs, and he could be good half the time. But my step-husband, Mark, my husband.
Her fake husband.
Yeah. That I know what I'm going to say. He just, when he came into the situation, he was like, like when I met you, you're kind of loud, kind of this, and now I get it more after meeting Carson, why everybody's so, the way they are. And he's even more like that now too, and he does all the crazy stuff and the noises and gets Carson's attention, and Carson laughs his head off. And in fact, my stepdaughter Alyssa will say, "Dad, stop! He needs to breathe in between laughing."
Oh, really? That's great.
But he always, and so I just think, I'm so used to it. So when people are like, explain it, so like even when you were asking me to talk about something and I was thinking about it, I'm like, even when he starts school, they're like, so what is he like? And I just forget how complex it is because it's so normal.
It's just your life.
This is just normal life. So I'll sit there and start thinking about certain things or how I can explain certain things. But so to me, I feel tired. Like I feel like I've aged a ton in the past 5 years. However,
you look fantastic.
Oh, that's what I meant to
fantastic.
I meant to say, however, you guys, if you could see me right now through that. I look so
she
good.
looks great.
No, but I'm saying I just think you just keep going and you just keep doing it, and somehow, it works out. And I think when I look at him now, at 15 opposed to 2, I think of everything we've gone through between then and all the stuff that's happened in the family and different things, and I think he's actually in one of his best times right now. That's probably my next calling.
Is that your next calling?
Well, I don't know if it pays as well as substitute teaching, but
that's true. If you did a TED Talk, then hey, you did it. My podcast might launch you.
I could.
You never know. I think it might.
Maybe Isabella will come and talk to us.
Maybe she
will
will.
harass her.
Oh my god.
I'll harass her.
It would be really hard to be a sibling. I mean, because it's and it'd be hard to be a mom because everything's about Carson.
When I look at her, I think there's things that she probably hasn't said to me that
she'd like to.
There's anxieties and there's things that she feels guilty about or sad about,
or even resentments.
And she and I remember she went to something with Trent one night when she was younger. It was a family night somewhere. She was acting real weird and wanted to leave early, and I was at home with Carson, and she was upset because here were all these families that got to do this stuff and be a family all together, and she wanted Carson there, but it wouldn't work for him because he wouldn't. And I just think there's so much psychological stuff that goes into that as the sibling that doesn't get discussed or people know. And then later on, certain things come out or they feel certain ways, and it's because they endure a lot.
Well, and you as a mom, do you feel like you've lost yourself, or do you feel like you found yourself?
I feel like now I have. I feel like there were some years where I did. And I think one of the best things too, as a parent with disabilities, kid with disabilities, is you have to take care of yourself.
It's exhausting. I can't even imagine.
The whole way I thought of it before was like, you just do everything for your kids. But it's like that whole thing. I hate when people say it too. When you're on an airplane and the mask comes down, you got to put the mask over you first before the other person. But here's the analogy. I mean, how do you do it? You have to. You have to take care of yourself. You have to allow those moments to go out and be more normal and do whatever and get these things done by yourself in order to be able to take care of everyone else. So.
Well, and it's hard, isn't it? Because every question is probably about him. Do you find that it's ever about you, or does that bother you?
No, I mean, a lot of people are so curious about his situation, and seeing him, they don't even get the depth of what he is. Mm-hmm. like you hear a disease and you're like,
I didn't realize.
But the stuff that goes on the inside of what's happening, there's just a lot more going on psychologically and mentally and all that. And so I think I don't mind. I like people to understand things, but a lot of times, like I said, I'll forget certain things. And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should have told
I also do that.
Because I'm just so used to it. It just seems like a life.
I think it's neat though that you mentioned that it's been so hard, but you've found yourself. So maybe at first you were feeling really lost, but it sounds like you found your calling.
Well, and that's the thing here when I'm like, when I'll go into the rooms and work with kids or whatever, even though I'm doing mostly regular classroom now, I still feel like there's a lot of kids in regular classroom that need support. And so as a sub, I'm not there to change everybody's world or to babysit. I'm there a lot of the time looking for the kid that needs somebody to cheer them on a little, and I'm there because all kids have this need of wanting to feel,
a kind of
love, to just feel normal and acceptance.
So I feel like I've done my best if by lunch they're saying, well, you're going to be back after lunch, right? You're not going to be gone at the end of the day. And then I think, okay. And sometimes when I have to come down hard on kids, because I do, I'll be surprised when they're like, you're my favorite substitute. And I'm like, how? I just told you no recess. But I just feel like it's given me a way to kind of get into that world more with kids and of different types of things going on, because even the ones without disabilities have a lot of stuff going on at home.
Yeah. They sure do. So, Rachel, you're awesome. Really, thank you so much. I don't mean to keep keeping you guys, because I know Shelley's got to pretend like she's not sick anymore and go back to work.
That's true. She has a lot.